So I like to hear good positivity. Well, as stated previously, I am a graduate from the University of Houston. Before I got to Houston, I was a junior college product. I went to Coffeyville Community College. What I like to call prison. It's a lot worse than what I've seen here. Y'all got money here. It's kind of odd. But at this point in time, what I want to be able to talk to you guys about is just telling you a little bit about my story and how I went from not even the junior college level, but how I went from being the 15-year-old kid that had literally no signs of talent at all. I was really about 16, 17, and girls were still able to meet me in a race. There was no colleges on the radar whatsoever. And for some odd reason, this kid out of St. Louis found himself going from being slow, not even recruited, to number 3 in the state of Missouri, finds himself in junior college, goes to Houston, ends up breaking the world record and becoming a national champion. What I'm going to talk to you guys about is what happened in those transitional phases and the life lessons that I learned that became essential for me. Now I have to start it off with actually being able to say something about Juco, and it's the fact that the place and space that you guys are in right now is not a ceiling, it is a step. Oftentimes, whenever you walk into a new place and space, we like to treat it as if we have arrived somewhere, as if we're no longer supposed to be active, as if we have nowhere else to go from here, and this is the highest height that we've been called to go to. Oftentimes, if I treat a place and space like it's a ceiling, that is going to be exactly where I stop. If I treat this place and space like it is a step, on the other hand, for some odd reason, I will find myself going to higher heights. I will find myself going to what I call glorious glory. So that's the first things first. But whenever I begin to talk about how we treat a place as if it is a step and not a ceiling, so that I never have to stop, I'm just pretty sure that nobody walked into Trinity Valley Community College saying, I plan on this being the final place that I go. This is just my final stop. This is where I want to end my collegiate career. I just want to end it off at Juco. Most of the time, we go to Juco with the intention to transfer. It makes me realize oftentimes the reason why Juco is often so uncomfortable in the first place is because it's done by design, because you're not meant to stay here. You're supposed to find somewhere else to go. You're supposed to do better. Oftentimes, this was never meant to be your ceiling, therefore it was always supposed to be uncomfortable. It was always supposed to be inconvenient for you in this place, because any place you're not designed to stay for long is always going to be uncomfortable to you. Oftentimes, we complain about the very things that show us that we have more potential. Oftentimes, we complain about discomfort as if that is not showing us that, oh, I have somewhere else to go from here. So whenever I begin to talk about how this is a step and not a ceiling, I want to first begin to talk about my story when I started off in high school. The reason why I had to go to junior college is because I was not qualified in high school. I was a kid that became number 3 in the state of Missouri. You could not tell me anything. I just thought for sure. I don't know who told me this. I don't know why I told myself this lie. But I said, in spite of me having a 1.7 GPA out of high school, because I'm number 3 in the state of Missouri, and they bring all these articles about me, and I'm becoming ranked in the country, getting invited to all these national meets, that for some odd reason the school is just going to completely bypass the fact that I have a 1.7 GPA. And that was just the attitude that I carried out all the time. So my parents would tell me, right, you're not going to college. And I would get offended by that, and I was like, y'all, my parents are supposed to be the ones that believe me. If anybody's going to tell me, no, it should not be y'all. You guys raised me. Why are you telling me what I can't do? And then coaches began to tell me the same thing. I don't get how you are going to get to college with a 1.7 GPA. Something about what you're saying is not making any sense. And it wasn't until I began to get recruited, which I'm not going to lie, the best part of the athletic experience in my opinion is the recruitment process. That's the time where a coach is going to completely gas your head up, tell you everything that's good about you, make you feel real good about yourself, and sell you on becoming coached by them to get you into the institution. And so oftentimes the coach will give you compliments in regards to, no, I'm having a conversation. You know, the Green State of Missouri, you're ranked in the country. There's not a whole lot of individuals that can beat you in high school. That's real great, fine and dandy. Let's have a conversation. But the conversation usually would end not with them talking about my talent, but talking about my GPA. As soon as I would be on the phone, they would look and ask one question: what's your GPA? As soon as I would say 1.7, they would not even continue the conversation. Some of them just hung up in my face, which I thought was completely disrespectful, which is why I had to roll all of their shoes once I got myself over to D1. But at a point in time, I had to realize something about life, and it's the fact that you cannot out-talent walking around and I'm sitting over here blaming everybody else but me for me all of a sudden landing myself in a junior college. I began to think, well, no coach wanted to take a chance on me. No, you did not give me the opportunity or the leeway to even want to take a chance on you. At a point in time, oftentimes the reason why we experience closed doors and then all of a sudden blame life as if life holds us an open door, I want us to be able to understand something. The same way a new day is not guaranteed, is an open door. Tomorrow is not even promised. Why would I ever think that a new opportunity would be? Oftentimes, sometimes doors close to those that do not make themselves undeniable. Sometimes we always work on the reasons why somebody should tell us yes. When it came to my talent, I said, you can't say no to the kid that's running 47 out of high school, that's number 3 in the state of Missouri. I'm working in practice, doing all I need to do in practice, just not the classroom. And I had to realize something. Oftentimes I made myself deniable. I was working on one reason they should say yes, which was my time. But I was also giving them many reasons to say no, my GPA. Sometimes when you're in this space right now in junior college, might I submit to you that it's in your best interest to not work on the reasons why the schools want you to say yes, but work on why they will tell you no. Oftentimes the reason why we are in here is there is something that we have done or been doing. There's a bad habit that has become this brick wall that has blocked us from breakthrough. Oftentimes, might I submit to you, we need to find out what that is that's blocking us from breakthrough so that we can experience new levels, new places, new spaces. So when I begin to say that I'm talking about whenever we find ourselves at this level right now, I'm talking about some of the things that we are going to have to learn is, the commitment part. Oftentimes I realized I had a commitment when it came to my athletics. That commitment was not carried out in my academics. And it made me realize that commitment to me was conditional. Oftentimes in life, the one thing that your commitment can never be is conditional. Oftentimes if your commitment is conditional, you know what happens when your conditions get made in life? Your commitment is going to go away. Oftentimes if your dedication is tied to a destination, you know what's going to happen when you get to a destination? That dedication is going to go. I want to be able to tell you at this point in time, your talents can take you, but your character has to keep you. So if your talent takes you somewhere that your character cannot keep you, you're going to experience the pain of having something and losing it. There is really no greater pain than to actually have something and lose it on account of something that could have been prevented. I could have just went to class. I was like in high school, I wasn't even going to class. That was foreign to me. I just would show up, walk around in the cafeteria, sign myself in, and go to practice. They just passed me along because I had just become the fastest. I became the talented one that put the school on the map. So obviously they just decided to pass me along. I didn't see an issue with it until I found myself having a conversation, and now they're saying, well, we can't let you into the school, so you're able to benefit the high school, but that's as high as you're going to be able to go with that GPA. And so back to when I talk about commitment being conditional, dedication being tied to a destination, I want us to be able to realize oftentimes we have to detach from what we want in regards to an outcome and begin to focus on what we become. Oftentimes there is a greater value in what you become, much more than what you're going to experience in regards to an outcome. And so when I begin to walk around and I'm walking around Juco and begin to acclimate myself with this environment. I mean, it's bad. It's prison. The food is pretty nasty. I am hungry. I am in the middle of nowhere. I'm from a city that's pretty civilized, but now all of a sudden I find myself in a situation where the closest thing to me is a Walmart and a Casey's and a Brahms down the street. And whenever we went to our coach and asked them, well, where is our gear at? They said there's a hidden sports down the street. You better ask your parents for money because we don't supply that. I thought that was completely insane. I said, y'all don't even give us workout gear? What happens if I can't afford that? Do I just show up in some courses and thug it out? I don't understand what it is that you're telling me right now. So we walk around and we begin to go on this journey throughout our junior college journey, and I had to recognize something else. Whenever we had this mindset, because when I got to Juco, I already had this aim. When I walked into Coffeyville Community College, I said one thing and one thing only. I'm going to make it. I just don't know how I'm going to get there right now, but I'm going to make it. So every action was in association with my destination. At a point in time, that's what I like to call aligning actions. So as soon as I had this aim, that's what you need in junior college. You need to walk in with an aim. You need to walk in with a mission on your mind. So all of a sudden, every action that you do, everything that you do is in alignment with So sometimes I had to walk around, and I wasn't the kid that could hang out with everybody in junior college because I got somewhere to go. Sorry, I can't have this conversation long and drawn out. I gotta go to sleep. Why? Because I got somewhere to go. Oftentimes I said yes to something way before I got here. And because I said yes to something, that means I gotta say no to me sometimes. Oftentimes everybody wants to say yes to a dream and a destination until they have to say no to them. When you gotta say no to what it is that you want to do in a moment. When you gotta say no to what you've been planning to do, what you desire to do. All of a sudden that creates a certain level of inconvenience, and this is where we begin to recognize what I call cost. Whenever I think about cost, I think about how much is what you're trying to do going to cost you in regards to your time, in regards to your energy, in regards to your efforts. How much is this going to cost you? Oftentimes I realized that when I got to junior college, I said I wanted to go to Baylor. I began to align all my actions with going to Baylor. I walked in since freshman year, only talking about Baylor. As a matter of fact, I was even running around in practice thinking about this is what I'm going to do at Baylor. I would sleep at a certain time to make sure when I get to Baylor, I'm not waiting to get to Baylor to begin to operate a certain way. Oftentimes, might I submit to you that operation precedes opportunity. So whenever I operate a certain way, I can never expect to experience new opportunities. The other thing, when I'm in junior college, you have to be able to maximize this opportunity. When you maximize this opportunity, it creates new opportunities. So to ever sit here and just wait to do things the right way, when all of a sudden you find yourself at the end of the road, is unrealistic. You can't sit here and try to place a demand on life to open new doors for you when you do not first place the demand on yourself. So when I'm walking around and I'm just operating somewhere, I say I'm operating because I have somewhere to go, and I'm not going to wait to get to Baylor to do what it is that I'm supposed to do. I'm going to do that now. I've established my actions that caused me to have to go to junior college in the first place. I wasn't going to class. The only thing that got added to my activity was intentionality that then altered my entire reality. Oftentimes, you are doing the right things in regard to activity, but now you need to add some intentionality. Oftentimes, I gotta go to class. I was just the one, it sounds real simple, but in my life, I was making it way too complex. Just go to class. It's not going to interest you because you don't like school. That's fine. But in regards to where it is that you're trying to go, you got to do it. So let's just go ahead and let's just get active with it. Doesn't matter if you need to go ask somebody for help, if you need a little bit of some extra assistance. That's fine. Just make sure that by the time you get done with your 2 years, you got the GPA that's going to qualify you to go to Baylor. So this is all about an aim thing. And so when I began to see the price that I was paying, I said, I'm willing to pay this. I said, this isn't too bad. It requires a couple hours of my time in class and study hall, and I might have to have some conversations with some other students just to ensure that I can actually get my grades right, because like I said, I was not the academic savvy athlete. I needed some extra help. Not because I wasn't good at school, it just didn't interest me enough to pay all the way attention. I'm just being completely honest. But oftentimes, what I actually want to touch on is whenever we talk about price, whenever we talk about what it is that we're paying in regards to our time, energy, and efforts, I want us to be able to first and foremost establish that rent is due every day. Like if you were to rent an apartment, you don't just put down a down payment, and that's the last time you pay for this apartment. But now every day you have to save enough money and or make enough money to now maintain what you have obtained. Rent becomes due every day. Oftentimes, a lot of individuals, when they get to the deeper opportunities, their priority was arrival and not activity. So you wanted to receive arrival, you just wanted to get there, but you had no idea what you were going to do when you got there. So now that you're here, you have no idea what is next, and at a point in time, there's no reason for you to ever want to arrive and not be active. Whenever we walk into a place in space, I oftentimes have to realize that preparation, when I talk about character, is if I'm preparing you for an opportunity. If we go to D1, I'm not preparing you for the parties. I'm not preparing you for the walks around campus. I'm preparing you for your responsibilities. Oftentimes, whenever we get to experience blessings, I don't prepare you for the benefits of the blessing. I'm preparing your character for the responsibility that's coming with it. I had to realize this very on in my junior college career when I'm walking around. I was like, okay, we pay the price, day, you know, right That's real fine, that's nice and dandy. See, and everything was going good because I found myself ranked number 6 in the NCAA my freshman year. And I started to get my college interest, from the SEC to the Big 12. And I just began to see, it's not Baylor, but it's Alabama, it's LSU, it's Mississippi State, it's OU. So at least I'm landing in that range, but it's not specifically where it is that I would actually like to go. And so I get to my sophomore year, and as I'm navigating throughout my sophomore year, I'm just running like I do regularly, and I begin to experience a lot more success. I'm talking to a lot more schools. I became that kid in junior college that was barely even on campus because I always had a flight ticket. I always had to fly somewhere to go take a visit, whether it was official or unofficial, whichever way possible. I just wanted to go ahead and just see all my options. So I'm walking around, and everything is nice and dandy, and it got to a point to where I ended up going to Arkansas for a track meet. Now there was no other individual on my team that actually got to go to this track meet. I was the only one that was able to qualify for it. I said, that's fine. My coach then pulls me to the side and said, Juco, I don't know why they call me Juco, they just call me Juco. He said, Juco, this is your rehearsal. At a point in time, this is your rehearsal. You said you want a scholarship to certain places and spaces. Well, every school that you want a scholarship from is about to be right here at this track meet. So at this point in time, what I need you to do is lock in and focus because you've been sent here on assignment. You got something to do here. You have something that you've been set out to do. You have a mission that's on your mind. It's finally about to take place. I woke into Arkansas, I found myself quite angry. I found myself quite angry because I'm looking at other athletes and I see that they have on this nice gear, their nice Nike Tech fits. I see that they get bags and boxes of Chick-fil-A and Jimmy John's. Meanwhile, I just came here starving. I'm on an empty stomach. I came here a little bit more hungry, and I got real frustrated with dealing with all the athletes and looking at them and seeming as if they were taking advantage and or for granted an opportunity that I was wishing I had. It's real hard in life to ever watch somebody's reality be your prayer request. I'm looking at them and I'm like, I'm praying to be in this position. They seem to be playing. See, I'm doing praying. I'm praying, they're playing. See, I'm doing all this praying, and they're over there doing all this playing. And I saw this incongruency that frustrated me, so I said, I've come here to take something from somebody. I'm just walking into this place and space here for a robbery, not trying to be an actual criminal, but I said, I'm taking something from you at this point in time. Because you don't want it like me. You have not experienced the circumstances in life to make you want it like me. Therefore, my only assignment in this place and space is to take something from you. I'm here to take your scholarship because I'm going to earn it. I'm about to give your coach a reason to take your money away and give it to me. So I walked in, and I had a conversation with my principal. Baby, at a point in time, I began to think that all of my deep one dreams were finally coming true. I'm walking around, I see it, I'm like, okay, Baylor Bears. At this point in time, I had two of my homeboys that were already running at Baylor. I said, well, it seems like I'm about to be up there with them. They talked to me, they said, Jermaine, I see the stats. I just want you to know that whenever we offer scholarships to Baylor, we don't do partials. We only do fulls. AKA telling me, whenever you get into this place and space, because of what we're paying you, our expectation that we're putting on you is to get all of you. If I'm going to pay for everything, I'm going to need out of you everything. If I'm going to pour in all my resources, I don't pour in all my resources to liabilities. I invest all my resources into assets. So at a point in time, what are you going to be in this institution? Are you going to be an asset or a liability? Because if the answer is liability, we might as well stop having the conversation now. That I was never going to look asset. But it had nothing to mean when I walked into the institution. Just give me a chance. And so I'm in conversation. I began talking to Baylor, LSU, Texas Tech, and I'm just looking. And at a point in time, I stated previously, my school I ended up going to was the University of Houston. By this time, the University of Juco was not even in my top 5. So I'm walking, and I'm learning, and I'm working, and I'm grinding. I'm just doing everything right at this point in time. There's something about when you're doing everything right, and everything in your life seems to be going right. It just seems as if no wrong can happen at this point in time. I felt real bulletproof. I felt like everything was just about to happen by itself. Everything was organically falling into place. I just started having gratitude toward God. Thank you, God. I just thank you for what you're about to do in advance. I had to learn how to be real careful about some prayers that I pray because I don't understand necessarily what it is that I'm actually asking for. And sometimes I don't actually realize what I'm thanking God for. at Juco Nationals, this is where we solidify things. This is where something gets solidified. So I walk into this Texas Tech facility. I said, this is a nice facility. I ain't gonna fake it. This is my number 3 school right now, but they might have moved themselves up to number 2 just in case Baylor falls through, because this is a nice place to be able to run. So I'm walking around, and it was almost as if prelims was just easy work. That was light work. Prelims, that's easy go. And I get to the finals, and I'm a chaser in the 400. The 400 where you run a lap and you do 2 laps. And I like to be the person that's behind in regards to the stagger. So they put number 1 and number 2 in lanes 5 and 6. I get lane 4. That was my perfect lane, perfect opportunity, perfect setup. I'm walking into the race the day before, and as soon as I get into the blocks, I'm just, thank you, God. God, thank you for what it is that is about to happen. God, I just want to thank you in advance, because I just knew for sure, without a shadow of a doubt, when I walk in here and when I win this race, I'm going to be a national champion. And I'm getting my free scholarship to be a Baylor Bear, because whoever wins nationals, they can pretty much just pick whatever school they want to go to. So I said, it's solidified for me. As soon as I cross this line at first, I'm going right over to the coach. I'm going to have a conversation with him. By the next week, I should be signed. My dad was after me. I literally was talking to him. I was like, Dad, I'm going to be signed today, but I don't even understand what you're talking about. I was like, out of high school, there was not one school I'm talking to right now that had any interest. But right now, 2 years later, I went into Juco, forgot it, and I reemerged as something that's become memorable. At this point in time, let's rock. I walk in, I just knew I was about to win this race, become a national champion, get my scholarship. I didn't even get off the curb before my hamstring really popped. Now, when my hamstring popped, the reality of my situation had not set in yet, but I began to see that becoming a national champion slipped away from me. That was the first thing I set out to do. I had been saying that I was going to win nationals since the beginning of the year. Remember what I said about aim? Every action had been aligned with. When I get to my moment when we're finally at nationals, that's just dubs to me. I had literally been practicing in alignment with this one moment. When I get to nationals, I am winning. I'm not training 10 months out of the year to get to nationals and lose. I'm not training to get second. I'm training to win it all. If I'm going to go ahead and shoot for the stars, I'm going as high as I can go. So I'm just walking around, and I popped my hamstring and had to realize something. I said, Jermaine, I don't think you know what you were thanking God for. You were thanking God for a win. Instead, you're really thanking God for the loss of the lesson that you were about to gain. I didn't realize that early on into a point where at that point in time, I was a pretty emotional man still. I wasn't all the way saved, nor was I all the way delivered. I still had a little bit of anger and animosity in me a little bit still. So I'm walking around and I get off the track immediately just limping. And my father just knew what was about to happen, because he knew there was going to be some coach from somewhere that was not going to be able to read the room. And he was going to come up and try to talk to me, and he was probably going to get hit. And so my father, as soon as OU comes to tap on my shoulder, just had to pick me up and just take me to the other side of the facility, because he just understood what was about to happen. I wasn't about to have a conversation. I just popped my hamstring. Nationals just got pulled away from me. Scholarships are about to get pulled away from me, because the one thing that they don't do with Juco athletes, remember, liabilities over assets. Not every institution wants to deal with a nurse injury. So I just knew, I said, certain schools are about to lose interest. All that I've been working for, the entire dream that I've been aligning my actions with for the past 2 years, I began to get frustrated. And I said, God, why would you allow this to happen to me? Why would you do this to me? I've been doing everything right. I literally began to handle my business in the classroom. I began to handle my business on the track. I began to develop as an individual with good character. I became the team leader, the team captain. I was the one that kept everybody accountable. I became the vocal leader. I became the one that was going to uplift everybody. And you're going to let this happen to me? Why me? And I had to realize that in the midst of failure, there was success. Oftentimes, success happens not in when failure occurs, but how you respond to when failure occurs. Oftentimes, success is not in your response to when life says no. It's can you remain anchored to your answer. I had to realize, it's like, Jermaine, we still set out to either get to Baylor or we're going to go to college. That mission has not changed. Just because we're anchored, we still have somewhere to go by any and all means. At a point in time, I understand that you want this, but now life is about to test your willingness. At a point in time, I understand you want D1, or you willing to do all that's required of you to get D1. Up to this point, without you being injured, the answer has been yes. Now that life and your dynamic has changed, are you anchored to that answer? At a point in time, everybody used to say, this is the dog. He's a school record holder at Coffeyville. He's the one getting all the visits. He's the one that's ranked in junior college. At a point in time, this is the dog. He's that guy here. That's fine. At a point in time, life finally had to tell him, are you sure? Are you sure that you are who you say you are? Are you absolutely and positively sure? Because at a point in time, you cannot come to a conclusion about character that's not battle tested. I gotta see how you respond to when life lights you up. I gotta see how you respond when life tells you no. I gotta see how you respond not when doors open but when they close. I need to see what you do. I need to see, are you still that same dog? I need to see, are you anchored to that same answer? I know you said yes when everything was cool, calm, and convenient, when everything in your life was just perfectly put in place. But when everything falls apart, are you anchored to that same answer? I understand at this level we all have our wants. We all want to go to the new level. We want to go to the next level. We want to go to a higher level. Life does not care anything about that. I wanted to go to bed, I did not go to bed. I wanted to secure my scholarship, I did not secure my scholarship. Life does not care how bad you want it at a point in time, it's are you willing? Oftentimes it's not even just about what do you want, but what are you willing to become in order to get that? So I understand when it comes to action, I'm willing to do these actions. I'm willing to do this daily. What are you willing to become? It goes way past the one. I understand we say you gotta want it bad. I understand that we need to get to a willingness thing. Oftentimes when I began to look at it, I realized that when we think about success, our response to success can create failure. And our response to failure can create success. Because now that I have to respond a certain way to this injury, I had the chance to respond, and I'm walking around and for a day, I cried. For a day, I was mad. For a day, I sulked. And the one thing I need to be able to understand is sometimes our sadness needs an expiration date. Sometimes you can't sit over here and just wallow in this bad moment for the rest of your life, just thinking that life has just done you so wrong. At a point in time, you're going to have to get out of there. You're going to have to get back up and do something different at a point in time. You might have to switch up an approach, but you still got the same mission. So I looked and I said, well, my mom had called me. She said, Jermaine, I want you to realize that you're the captain of that team too, and y'all still have a little outdoor season. And though there has been pain that has come along with your yes, though your yes and pain was indirect, that yes is not incorrect. You didn't answer wrong all of a sudden just because life began to light you up and challenge just how bad you are what you say you are, just how bad you want what you say you want. Your answer was not incorrect just because life has begun to go a different way. Oftentimes, whenever life begins to light us up, our first response is, should I turn around? Our first response to resistance is, did I make the right decision? Oftentimes, might I submit to you that confirmation that you made the right decision is if resistance begins to hit you. Oftentimes, if you're going to go the wrong direction, there's nothing in life that's going to resist that. I want you to go that way. I want you to stay down. I'm not about to resist you staying down and staying negative. I'm not going to resist you going to do what you should not be doing. I'm placing no resistance or anything in front of your way. But the second you decide to do the right thing, the second you decide to live your life and change your lifestyle, now here comes resistance. Why? Because you just made the right decision. So oftentimes when you make the right decision, I need you to understand, expect to experience resistance. Expect life to begin to light you up and test you, because it's in that testing that it's going to create something on the inside of you. When I had to walk around and I'm answering, my mom says, you still the captain? You still are that vocal leader? Well, no one's obligating me to get up at 5 a.m. with the team anymore. I don't have to do that. I don't have practice. I'm hurt. We don't have the same rehab resources where we can just nurse injuries and come back to help and all those and have a good outdoor season. No, I'm done. There's not a whole lot that can be done for me at this point in time. I can try to come back, and I actually did try to come back, and I re-injured myself twice because I'm stubborn and strong-willed. And in spite of the coaches saying, "This red shirt," I said, I want a dub. And I didn't get my dub indoors, so I wanted it outside. It was not the wisest of decisions, but I made it anyway. That was my bad. I had to lay in it. But at a point in time, I had to look at the response,
And I just started to get up with the same team. Instead of me running my instead of me running my legs, I just began to run my mouth. I just became that kid that, hey, I understand what's going on with me, and I understand that team morale might be a little bit down because how can we win without our anchor leg? But I want you to understand the mission has not changed. We said that as a team we want to win. We said as a team we want to secure opportunities and scholarships. That has not changed on account of one individual experiencing inconvenience. So at a point in time, I'm going to be right outside with y'all because I had to realize I couldn't turn that off. I want you to be able to realize when it comes to commitment, that's not something that you can just clock out of. Commitment does not all of a sudden stay on the court or on the field in any place in space. Commitment is not just within the 2 or 3 hours that you practice. Commitment stays with you when you leave practice. Oftentimes, whenever I begin to think about junior college clients, I think about what separates y'all from so many individuals. As an athlete, I think about what separates so many athletes from other athletes, and it's not the 2 or 3 hours that we practice. It's what we do when we leave. I had to learn that a little bit later on in life. But I want you to understand, separation does not happen in the 2 or 3 hours of practice. It happens when you leave, because I hang out to the Division I level. I'm at the University of Houston. Now, all of my friends, some of them run for Iowa, some of them run for Florida, some A&M, some Texas Tech, Baylor, whatever school you like to name. I know somebody that was competing, and we used to talk about our workouts. We was doing the same workouts. If you were a quarter worship, doing some of the same stuff. At a point in time, I realized, I said, well, if we're doing some of the same workouts, but for some odd reason we're all getting different results, there must be separation happening somewhere, and I had to realize, what do you do when you leave? Because somebody's going home, and they're staying up on 2K and only getting 4 hours of sleep, so there's some separation happening. Now there's another individual that's going home, going to sleep by 10, hydrated, making sure that they eat everything the right way, making sure that they get the right amount of protein, making sure that they get the right amount of nutrients, and for some odd reason, the athletes that are doing all the same workouts, running all the same times, when they get to meet day, when it's time to shine, when it's time to not just talk about it, but be about it, but some odd reason something different happens. And it's all in the preparation. It's all in what they do when they leave. Oftentimes I want you to understand that your effort level is good. Your effort level is correct, as a matter of fact. You're right to be able to go 100% at all points in time. My issue is not you going 100%. My issue is you do that daily. Oftentimes I want us to be able to realize sometimes we do the right thing. The thing that separates is the frequency in which we do it. So it's not about do you do the right thing, how often. Because some individuals only do the right thing when they feel like it, so that might be 2 to 3 days a week. And they pat themselves on the back. Other athletes do it 5 days out of the week. So throughout all the practice, they just do all of the right things. They do all of the right stuff. Pat themselves on the back. Now there are other individuals that are the anomalies, and they're the ones that make it a lifestyle. They're the ones that walk around and every day they have the same intention, even on the rest day. I have intention in my rest day. I'm not working out, but my intention is to rest, recover, rehydrate, do everything I gotta do to prepare myself for Monday. Those are the athletes that become the coach. I had to realize that when I got up to the professional level, when my coach looked at me, he says, Jermaine, you guys have been doing some of the same things. But what I need you to do is go home, roll out, stretch, hydrate. I said, how is this going to be what creates what I'm seeing on TV? All of this is repetition. They just do it daily. Some people do it 3 times, some people do it 5 times, some people do it every day to become their lifestyle. You know the ones that become the coaches, the ones that make character qualities a lifestyle. The ones that make commitment their lifestyle. The ones that make dedication their lifestyle. It has to be a real part of it. Now I want to go ahead and close with this. I'm going to leave y'all alone. I want to close with how we honor sacrifices. Because oftentimes, the one thing that makes somebody push beyond is to actually honor the sacrifice of somebody else. Now, when it's for track and field, some of you may be familiar, some of you may not. We run this thing called the 4x4. And this 4x4 is the one race that not a lot of track athletes like to run. As a matter of fact, at the University of Houston, we had a lot of moments where we would have to go find somebody that was hiding in the bathroom or under the bleachers, because for some odd reason, when we said 4x4, they just, now you're not talking to me, that you're not speaking English to me at this point in time, therefore I'm not doing it. And at a point in time, I had to realize something. The most pressurized position of this 4x4, which is a relay where 4 individuals all step on the track and all run one lap. That's what I also broke at Clemson University. At a point in time, I had to look at something, and I realized the reason why anchor leg is the most pressurized position is because the anchor leg has the opportunity to keep and or lose something that 3 other individuals just worked so hard for. There are 3 other individuals that go before the anchor leg. The reason why anchor leg is so much pressure, especially if you have the lead, is because you can lose what somebody else just had to work so hard for. Oftentimes, might I submit to you that there is somebody, whether it's a mom or a dad, a coach or a cousin, some family member or somebody somewhere that has sacrificed to give you an opportunity, that has placed you right here, and at a point in time, somebody has sacrificed to give you a lead in life. Might I submit to you that junior college, that's a lead in life. The way that you guys can develop here, that's a lead in life. There's a reason why we say Juco product, because there's certain things that you can only learn when you find yourself under pressure. At a point in time, most of the time, when I talk about pressure, I think diamonds. And doors tend to open for diamonds. So if you ever want to experience an open door to a D1, what I need you to never do is run from any type of pressure. Because doors open for diamonds, and you can tell a lot about an individual by what they run from and what they run toward. So if you're the individual that's running away from pressure, might I submit to you, that's dirt. The individual that runs through pressure, oh, that's a diamond. The one that when coach says, I need somebody, and they step up, oh, that's a diamond. The one in that high pressure moment where all of a sudden everybody begins to shy away, and they're the one person that says, I'm right here, I don't know what you need, I don't know what we're here to do, but I'm just right here with that's the diamond. At a point in time, diamonds tend to get created in junior college because you guys are under so much pressure. But you still have to sometimes even create your own pressure. Sometimes you need to be the individual that chases after pressure, that wants to experience pressure. If you want to be a diamond, then you're going to need the pressure. And at a point in time, I begin to realize a lot of people in their prayer life ask God for things that only diamonds can obtain, and then get shocked when He sends them pressure. A lot of individuals get shocked when they ask God for something that's going to require that they become strong, and then get shocked when life gets a little bit heavy, when life gets a little bit rough. No, I need you to be resilient for the place and space I'm calling you to. Therefore, life's going to have to get a little bit rough for a second. The intention behind it is not to take you out, but it's to prepare you for where I'm going to take you. So I walk around, and whenever you honor sacrifices back to the 4x4, there's something that you have. There's a lead that somebody has given you, and your responsibility is to not lose it. That's the only way that you can actually honor somebody's sacrifice, is to not lose the lead that another individual has worked so hard and sacrificed to give you. I'll give you a prime example right now. My mom had to alter her entire lifestyle to raise me. My mom should have been the vice president of a bank a long time ago. She's still a school teacher in St. Louis. She shouldn't even be in that city no more. She should be somewhere in Dallas living large, living quite pretty at this point in time. But she sacrificed her entire lifestyle and livelihood just to ensure I gotta raise my baby. I gotta raise my son. I gotta ensure, I know I dedicated this life to the Lord. I gotta make sure that for some odd reason there's a lot of glory that comes out of this boy's life. So I gotta stay home and raise him. I can't take my profession right now serious. I gotta stay home with the baby. At a point in time, I literally went to the University of Houston. I won a national championship. I got a world record. I'm now a professional athlete. I go around speaking. And at a point in time, I realized there's not one accolade that I can take to a bank and change my mama's livelihood. I can't take that one trophy I won, whether it's a conference championship, I got a lot of those. Whether it's a national championship, got one of those. Whether it's a world record play, I cannot take any of those to a bank and say, give me the money I need to change my mama's life so that I can suffice for the decision that she made long before I could actually form any thoughts. I had to realize at a point in time I can't honor her sacrifice by any other outcome. I can only honor her sacrifice by what I actually become. That trophy cannot all of a sudden change my mama's life, but who I become on the journey to obtaining that type of trophy, that can. So my commission unto y'all, to lead you out as community college athletes, I want y'all to prioritize becoming something that is not just going to glitter, but actually be gold. What good is it to look like you add value if you do not? At a point in time, when you walk into any place in space, I want us to have an assignment. I want us to have a sense of sentence our priorities should never be arrival. It should always be activity. Whenever we walk into a place and it's about destiny, destiny is not about arriving to a destination. It's about what you do at the destination. So the one thing that I want us to be able to focus on as we continue our athletic careers and go through our journeys is to focus on not any outcomes, but what we actually are able to become. It's not become something that's able to glitter.